So, hi everyone, this is JS Turno, and thank you, Masato, for that very informative part of yours. So, now I will be tackling about the IT band issues and the rest of the slides of this PPT presentation. So, thank you for listening and watching. Okay, so let's start. So IT band issues. Common injury for runners and cyclists, iliotibial band syndrome or ITBS, occurs when the IT band or a band of ligaments that runs along the outside of the leg from knee to the hip becomes tight and inflamed. Tight is like hugot and inflamed is something like muragahalang or kanang kuan gahapdos, something like that. You likely notice the pain at the hip or on the side of the knee, so which may increase with repetitive motion that impact the IT band such as cycling or spin classes. So kanang mga activities nga nagsigi o gamit usually the hip and the knees, no? So let's proceed. So as you can see here, the illustration of iliotibial band syndrome or the ITBS. So you can see there the gluteus maximus, the tensor fascia latae, the vastus lateralis, and the iliotibial band, which is the band that connects the hip or a band that is from the hip to the knees. So as you can see there, the red highlight. So that is the inflammation of the iliotibial band or the ITB, causing the outer knee pain and the possible pain in the hip. So you can see here the another illustration, no? So gikan diri sa hawak or kani sa atong dapi-dapi hangtod diri sa kilid sa atong mga katuhuran. Okay, let's proceed. So the rotator cuff injury. The rotator cuff injury or the rotator cuff is a group of four muscles that support and stabilize the shoulder joint. Over time, repetitive overhead movements such as military presses or activities that require a lot of shoulder mobility, such as throwing a ball or swimming. Commonly jud ang swimming, no, and baseball similar to that, and can lead to a rotator cuff strain. As you age, your risk increases as the tendons begin to degenerate, meaning kung sa lastiko pa na siya, nagkahinay-hinay na siya og degrade, dali na lang siya maputol. Okay, so as you can see here, no, the illustration, you can see there the bursa, the clavicle, the tendons, the humerus. The humerus and the clavicle are the bones. The bursa is something like the kasi tawag ani niya kani siya, this one, the bursa, is something like a padding. So you can see there the impingement syndrome or kanang ipit na, and the rotator cuff tear or kanang sa kuan, kanang muscles or kanang tendon nga nag-connect sa clavicle and the humerus, and you can see there the overused tendinitis, so nabunol na siya. So di na nimo mabati nga ini isa nimo sa imong shoulders or sa imong arms magsakit na siya, tapos usahay nay uban magkuto-kuto ang paminaw, no? So that is the rotator cuff strain or injury. So let's go here to the lower back pain. Low back pain during a workout may be a sign that you've strained the muscles surrounding the spine. If you feel a sudden twinge or pulling sensation, kung ganing mo inat gani nga sakit kay kuan pamati, you've likely pushed beyond your limits. So nilapaw na ka sa imong limits, which can even lead to the nerve compression or disc herniation. Squats or deadlifts with improper form or too much weight are the big culprits or mga big factors nga maka-affect for low back injuries. But twisting motions or sideways bends can also place a strain on the area. So commonly no din hindi mo makita tong mga gymnasts pod usahay nga katong magtiad-tiad, magliad-liad, mga artistic swimmers, mga divers, artistic diving nana. So what causes back pain, no? So you can see here the osteoporosis, the muscle strain or sprain. You can see here the vertebrae stress fracture. So bulging and ruptured disc dinha natong kuan murag bisag inigliad nimo gamay sakit kay iliad. Tapos ang spinal stenosis is something like inipog kuan nimo ini tiad nimo or ini bag-ubo nimo kay sakit sa gihapon. Then the osteoarthritis is kana sa bones na gyud, kana murag kada gimok nimo or di na ka makatarong ang naglakaw kay gamayin ka sa sakit sa imong lower back. Okay, so this will affect your walking movement, no, and this will also affect your day-to-day basis activities. So let's go to sprained ankle. Twisting an ankle doesn't always happen on a run. Any single leg exercise poses a risk. The ankle is a very mobile joint, but when the foot turns inward and the joint rolls too far, it can tear the ligaments that are on the outside of the ankle. So usually no experience na sad nako ni because I am a volleyball player and usually I land on a single foot and di jud malikayan nga usahay matakil po kay makatunog or sayop ang landing. So as you can see here, this is the illustration, no? So the inversion of your feet or the movement, the concept of movement where your feet moves or your movement of the feet moves or the foot moves inward or kanang imong lapalapa gaatubang sa center line sa atong lawas. So the difference between high and low ankle sprains. So makita niyo mo diri sa inversion nga na ay tear. Here ako i-zoom na tear, and the inversion as well na apoy tear. So ang high ankle sprain is somehow kanang sa ibabaw anang sa joints, and the low ankle sprains pod kay kaning diri jud mismo sa ankle, no? So na ato makita din na. So common po ni siya sa mga basketball players, runners as well, kay gagamit man pug tiil, right? Okay. Let's move to for a while. Okay, elbow pain. Elbow pain can show up in a number of ways, but the most common injury is lateral epicondylitis or the tennis elbow. Even if you don't play tennis, this tendonitis can crop up after using weights that are too heavy, performing identical exercise every time you work out for utilizing improper technique. So the essence of this report is that it is better to have, it's not better, but it is good to have a proper technique or the proper form during an exercise for you to be able to avoid injuries good. So let's continue. Weightlifters may irritate the tendon by performing an exaggerated wrist flexion at the end of a bicep curl, last pull down, or a seated row. So kanang ug unsa ray limit sa imong ligaments, dinharago na siya dapat kay dili man na siya dayon mainat yun. So if kana na miss na kuan ka, murag sige kang ganahang gadali or kanang naahat nimo ana, it can cause injury good, and that would be very painful. So you can see here, no, what causes the elbow pain. So the outer elbow usually is the most affected, no. The cubital tunnel syndrome or kanang sa kuan kanang magkuto-kuto dinha mo sulod to magkuto-kuto ang imong elbow. Then the tricep tendonitis, the bicep tendonitis, the tricep diri sa likod ang bicep tendonitis is dining sa kuan kana mag-flex na ka. So kanang sa and the medial epicondylitis or the inner elbow dinha magsakit. Tapos elbow fracture, that could be a serious injury that needs a lot of not a lot of operation, but a lot of treatment and operation nga kanabot ka nakagrus ka. Then I have a I have a friend that used to be a cheer dance athlete or a cheer dancer, and sad to say he landed awful, like grabe jud kaayo, like they need at least a $500,000 to operate his elbow, and karon na anay ruska nga ga-connect sa tissues sa iyang elbow o kaning diri sa kuan kaning nga part kani siya og diri sa iyang elbow dapit. So mo na siya nga it is very important to take precautionary measures yod, proper technique, proper form for you to be able to avoid injuries lang yun. So pectoral strains, so performing one heavy bench press too many can take you from strengthening your chest to straining it. So imbes nga magpakusog ka na kuan na noon, kanang nasore na noon or kanang something like na muscle tear na hitabo. So a pectoral strain or a tear is usually a result of the sudden overload to tissues. Like for example, gikan ka beginner ka 5, then you want to see the results immediately good, or about a week or about 2 weeks you did 20, so there's a sudden overloading sa imong tissues, and that usually in a bench press or chest fly motion. So you can see here sa kanang pong sa push-ups o pwede sad na. So you can see there the pectoralis major or kanang imong chest good, the muscles in your chest. Then you can see there the trapezius, the anatomical labels there, and the upper chest, no, ano yung sa chest part, chest area. So you can see there that kani siya nga muscle is it needs time to form yun, and dili siya nimo dali on because it can cause soreness of your pectoralis muscle, and that could affect your form, that could affect your movements as well, because bisag itiad na nimo your pectoralis what do you call this, expands. So if imo na siya i-expand yan na akay pectoralis strain or muscle of the muscle tear of the pectoralis, sakit jud kay siya iliho. So let's go to groin pool. So this is more on gyud what do you say this, kaning sa bulugan dapit. So groin pulls are fairly common and can occur during squats, lunges, or while sprinting. A sudden movement that pushes the muscle a bit too far, the workout is over as you hobble out of the gym. Let's say for example, wala kay warm up, wala kay stretching, wala kay warm up exercises, and you did immediately lunges diretso, you did squats diretso, then you do power sprints, and that can cause groin pull. So your risk also increases as you age. The same ni siya sa katong sa rotator cuff injury, since the muscles and tissues lose some of their elasticity as we grow older. So you can see there, no, kana siya groin injury pain patterns. So kanang diri dapit sa what do you call this, bladder dapit kanang muscles diha, o hanto diri sa atong bulugan na pit. So a pull in the groin area causes pain along the front of the pelvis and down to the inner thigh. So dinhi na tumburag lupik pay pamlugan nimo. Pamlog is like pamaol sa bulog. So muna siya pamlog. So the psoas major, the iliacus or the iliopsoas, the muscles there, muna siya makakos og hindi siya makakos murag on kana mo greatly affected sa groin pool, and the pectineus, the abductor brevis, abductor longus, and the abductor muscles and the gracilis, kana siya kay mo man siya mga muscles nga nasa inner thigh that would be affected yun sa groin injury, no? So let's proceed to the safety tips and measures in gymnastics. So first, strength training is good for injury prevention, but keep in mind that gymnasts motivated by helping them progress to the next skill level. So this really takes time, not to step up yung dili mo. So having a strong core provides gymnasts with a stable base for the arms and leg as they move in different directions. When the core, specifically the transverse abdominis muscle, kanang diri sa atong kanang muscle diri sa atong koto kanang diri sa abs dapit na siya. So if kana siya mo contract, it decreases the pressure placed on the lumbar spine. So asa mo nang lumbar spine diri sa opposite po niya kani sa likod nato. So this muscle contracts when you try to draw the belly button towards the spine. Contracting this muscle while performing exercises on a therapy ball or stable surface while strengthening the core. So other good core exercises include planks kanang kuan imong stand imong elbow, then pila ka minutes ka mag plank, the bridges, the tuck ups while hanging on the bar. So this will improve your core strength, you know. So next, flexibility imbalances can occur in the thighs, calf muscles, and hips. Performing stretches several times a day and holding each stretch for 30 seconds will make differences in flexibility. Kay o magdali-dali ka anaaw. Mura ra na siya og kuan sanina. Let's say for example, if imong sanina dali-dali mo na siya aning suot, nadyo na part nga magkuto-kuto mura kunuhay ang atong muscle. Ang kana siya magkuto-kuto dinha na makisi. So if you need time to kuan wear gyud a t-shirt, dapat hinahinay lang gyud ka kay para dili makisi ang imong shirt. Okay, so next, mental training. Fear. Gymnasts are typically viewed as fearless. They not only walk across a 4-inch beam, but they perform rather flips and jumps on it. It's natural for a gymnast to feel excited, nervous, and when performing a new skill or competing. So, di na mawala sa usa ka athlete ng fear. So, perfection. Gymnasts strive for perfection. This can wear on the athlete, causing frustrations or lack of enjoyment. So, kani siya, dapat ma-perfect yun niya kay if dili niya ma-perfect, the anxiety will occur jud like what if di na ko ni ma-perform sa finals, something like that. Okay, so safety tips in measures of gymnasts or in gym exercises, no? So first, pray. Importante dyan na mag-pray gyud like to make the Holy Spirit, the angels to guide you wisdomly or spiritually, no? So next is ensure your exercise pace is clear. Dapat dili ka ang imong palibot is conducive for exercising and for gym exercise, specifically gym exercise, and this will help you clear your mind as well, no? So dress appropriately, dili to magmaong, dili tong dili to mag tight jeans, something like that. Wear something that is loose, that is comfortable, you know. So 4, shoes, when to wear and when not to wear. So it is very important that when you start your warm up, it is very important as well that you wear your shoes and during and after the exercise. Why? Because this will help this will lessen the risk or the tendency that you will get a an ankle or feet injury. So clean your exercise equipment when done. So why it is very important to clean, no? Kay what if ang mosunod mag-exercise niya say mo equipment nga gigamit and you didn't clean it well, so what if kato gisingot og ayo unya kato siya wa siya kabalo nga dili de mala ang iyang equipment, so there's a possibility that mabuy-an niya and can cause injury or any stress on the body. So know your body, know what your limit is, know asa ra ka taman, know og kaya pa ba, know if you can surpass your limits, no? So next is always warm up and cool down. So it is very important to warm up gyud kay pasagad ka dirag sulong sa gira aw diretso kang kamatay. And og dili pug ka mo cool down, that would put stress on your muscles gyud like ug asar sila taman like ug mao na gainit imong lawas niya wala kay cool down. It is something like, or let's compare it with phone. If ang phone aning warm up nimo, aning nag-start ka gamit sa phone, so that's warm up, no? So as you use your phone about 3 hours straight, unya imo rang kalit og kuan, imo rang gi kalit og charge, something like mo naiuban mo hang jud ang phone. So it is very important no na i-rest sa ang phone o sa nimo i-charge. Okay? And most importantly, have fun but be responsible. So have fun no kay dili man jud ko nga it is also important to stay focused but the enjoyment will add or will push you to your limits gyud and will help you improve as a person physically and mentally, no? Okay, so let's go to how to manage conflict and safety management. First is you need to identify the hazards. So din yan mo makita to in case of maglinog, something like that. Unsay mga equipment sa gym or sa gymnastics nga tag-as kaayo taller than you that would eventually or buyag simba ko palayo that would eventually hit you when a earthquake occurs, no? And you need also to know where the fire exits, the emergency exits, and it is very important yun to have always a first aid, no? And next is determine who could be harmed and how. So it is very important no to if you know a certain gym exercise or in gymnastics man na kuan nga movement, it is very important yun nga you teach those novice or mga beginners the proper technique or the proper form for them to be able to avoid injuries gyud. So next is evaluate the risk and control decide on control measures. So ano mo pag-evaluate ang risk? Let's say for example, kaning kuan, kaning barbell. Dapat kini siya naka-place sa iyang tsakto nga butanganan. What if di ni siya mabutang sa tsakto nga place unsa may atong buhaton? Dapat ato siya ibutang sa tsakto nga butanganan to avoid certain accidents. And also what if kani siya dili trapuhan kay puno og singot, so kinahanglan trapuhan siya and that would help to lessen the risk of having accidents gyud in performing gymnastics and gym exercises. So number 4, record your findings. It is very important to record your findings for you to have a reference by the next day or by the next session kay what if your findings are just kuan are just let's say as is lang and by the next day as is ra sa gihapon. So it is very important to record your findings gyud. And lastly, or not lastly, but on this slide, periodically review and update your risk assessment. So let's say for example, periodically review unsa na may makakaya ni mga kuan movements, unsa na may makaya ni mga weights ana dito, and update your risk assessment. What if I should do this 20 times faster, or what if I should do this 20 times harder and something like that. So it is very important to assess yourself. So I think that ends my report, or our report rather, and thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something for in our report. And please don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you, and have a great day, everyone. Thanks.